Opinions expressed on this radio program do not necessarily reflect the views of this radio station.
My friends and I always tune into the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. Todd is entertaining, informative, and always delivers the goods.
Todd might not tell you what you want to hear, but he's going to tell you what you need to hear. And all you got to do is listen.
Hold on, Todd. Don't let go. It's time for the Todd L. Levitt Law Show.
It starts with
one thing, I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind. I designed this rhyme to explain in due time. All I know, time is a valuable thing. Watch it fly by as the pendulum swings. Watch it count down to the end of the day. The clock takes life away. It's so unreal. Didn't look out below. Watch the time go right out the window. Trying to hold on, didn't even know I wasted it all just to watch you go. I kept everything inside, and even though I tried, it all fell apart. What it meant to be will eventually be a memory of a time I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. One thing, I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try.
Welcome to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. Good morning, good evening, and good night. I'm yours truly, attorney Todd L. Levitt, broadcasting and podcasting once again, folks, in the middle of the mitten, in the Black Diamond Group mothership, in a beautiful green, stormy, wet, cold, icy, snowy field, with my good friend Craig Russell, the muscle, the hustle, no intro required. You will always be, Craig, America's favorite nug, but most of the listeners out there, if not all of them, they love you. How you doing, Craig?
I am fan-flippin-tastic, Todd. How are you?
You know, I could not be better, and thanks for asking. We opened up the show today with truly, I mean, sincerely, one of my go-to groups, Linkin Park. I love Linkin Park. I saw them at least 3 times. The last time was at the Pontiac Silverdome, 1999, with Metallica and Kid Rock.
That's almost as long as you've been doing this show, isn't it?
It is. I've been doing this show for one form or another on one station or another since about 1998.
Wow. Linkin Park. In the end, it doesn't really matter in the end. It doesn't really matter. And you know, those words have a lot of meaning today. They do, but we can't say
bittersweet.
Can't say why,
bittersweet.
But they do.
Well, we could say why. We should say why.
That's up to you.
I mean, I think we owe it to a lot of men and women out there, our sponsors, and everyone out there to say why we played the song in the end.
Okay, Todd, why did we play the song in the end?
Craig,
Todd,
this is going to be the second from the last show. This is it. We have next week, a week from today, will be the last airing. Did I say that right? It's hard to pronounce that.
Last airing, yep.
Of Craig Russell, the muscle, the hustle, together with yours truly, Todd L. Levitt. I've been doing radio for more than 20 years. Not up here in mid-Michigan. Prior to this, I was on 97.1. Can't say that, can I?
Yeah, you can.
Out of Metro D when it became talk radio. And then prior to that, folks, believe it or not, Craig, I had a cable access show that ran a loop in Metro Detroit at like 3 a.m. We went to a studio. Time Warner owned the studio, and we used to produce one of those shows on cable access back in the day.
I'm not surprised by that at all.
In the 90s.
You got the look for TV there, Todd. With the hair and everything? Are you kidding? Come on.
But next week is our last. Oh, I appreciate that. The next week is our last show, and it's going to be a huge show, folks. We have so many people to thank, some special guests coming on, certain special listeners. You know who you are. I've met so many people, Craig, over the years who listen each and every week to the show. One, because they're already tuned into this great radio station and all Black Diamond Group radio stations. And second, some of the people just like to tune in to listen to you and I banter back and forth.
Which I don't know why they want to do that, but people are crazy. Now, explain that you're not being forced out. No one's making you stop the show. You're doing this on your own. Yeah,
I'm doing it on my own. I've enjoyed it, Craig. I have so many people to thank, and we'll do that next week. The sponsors, all the sponsors, and we'll talk about who they are next week. And like I said, special listeners out there, they're all special. Norm, Mike, Cherie, everybody at Black Diamond Group.
Yep.
Corrine. We'll go on and on. We'll talk about it next week. But it's just, I'm 58 years old. I'm still practicing law. That doesn't stop.
Right.
I'm still located in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. That doesn't stop. This show is it's run its course. That's all there is to it. The show ran its course. We advocated on a weekly basis for the end of Reefer Madness, and there's a lot more work to be done on every level. There's so much.
A lot has happened.
But look, it's been a great run, and one of the most rewarding things about the show, Craig, other than doing it with you and the sponsors, is meeting all the men and women who come up to us, call my office, or you run into them. I'm always across the bridge in God's country. I ran into somebody from Gladwin this past week who was up there, shredding some of the trails before they melt away. And it was pretty cool. He says, I listen to you and Craig every Sunday morning, and you're always in God's country. And I said, we're here together today. Anyhow, it's honestly, Craig, it's just ran its course.
Yeah, every good thing comes to an end. There's very few things that just last forever. Think of all the TV shows that have started and ended. There's not many. There's one called Meet the Press, which is still on. It's been on since 1947. That's a rare occurrence. Most TV shows have a beginning, a middle, and an end, Hey.
Yeah, we've had so much fun just sitting here bantering back and forth about laws, and most of the time we don't even talk about law. We just complain. Believe it or not, folks, I have a complaint. I really do.
Get out of here.
Yeah. No, look, this goes out to all the men and women out there, including myself, who at one time or another had a job where he had to clean a bathroom.
Okay.
And I just think, this goes out to all the fellow guys out there, all the guys, okay? There's no reason whatsoever you should spit gum in a urinal, okay? I'm just going to tell you that because when I was a kid in college and I, worked at a restaurant and a sub shop at Domino's, but we didn't have a public restroom at Domino's. But at the times, if I was closing out or I was the one checking waiters and waitresses out and had to do the cleanup, I'd have to clean the bathroom. And yes, I would have to clean gum out of urinals. And the other day, I'm just using one and I'm looking at some gum and I'm thinking, come on, guys, the trash is right over there. So to all my fellow guys out there, it doesn't matter if you're like me and you love Yellowstone or whatnot, or it doesn't matter what you watch or who you are. No spitting gum in the urinals. Come on, Craig. You don't do that, do you?
No, not at all. Somebody's got to clean that up. Come on.
Yeah, haven't you ever seen that? It's not a complaint. It's just it's one of my requests.
A request.
I
think it's a complaint. I think it's a good one. If you had to clean it up, you'd be complaining about it.
So. But Craig, let me ask you. I've enjoyed doing the show with you so much. Prior to you, I did it with Michael J. Much love to Michael J. Steve at 98.5. I did some shows with Steve.
Yeah. Nikki,
Corrine,
remember Nikki? You did it with Nikki for a while?
Yeah, Nikki. Corrine used to do the show with me when it was in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. What have you enjoyed most about the show?
Not only have I enjoyed getting to know you, and of course getting to know people who, to this day will still come up to me and ask me about the show no matter where I'm at, but I've learned so much about law and about the lawyer side of the law. Things I never would have thought of before. I've learned from talking to you, and now when I watch a TV show or I'm thinking about something, I think of it from a different perspective. I usually think of it from your perspective and go, that's not my job to do your job for you. That's your job to prove that I'm guilty, kind of thing. The lawyer instinct like that. I never used to think like that before. I never used to think, if I get pulled over, I could actually say no to a police officer. Yeah, you can. And that's stuff I've learned from you. I've learned a lot about the law from doing this show with you over the last 7 years. 7 years. 7 years.
Wow. I've learned a lot from you, all our guests, Mike Nichols. I can go on and on. Little John, Biker Bob. We had Gavin on the show.
This for next week. You got to have something to talk about next week. Come on.
Oh, wait, we do. We have some special guests coming on next week. But
okay.
But again, for me, it's having an opportunity to be the voice of the people out there and try to educate and advocate and listen to what the people want and try to be their voice. And I think you and I have done that. We've got Kevin and all the guys over there, great group of people. But yeah, no, it's been a great run. But just meeting all the people who listen to the show. And again, when you do radio, we just sit here in front of the mic. You have no idea who's listening, right?
No, you have no clue. No clue. You wonder, is anyone paying attention? Is anyone listening? But they are.
And if you just tuned in for the first time, this next week is the last show of the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. And again, I'm still practicing law. I'm not going anywhere. The show has run its course.
Now, are you leaving the show as the podcast up for people to enjoy for years?
Oh, yeah. People can listen to the podcast. And I'm happy to say that possibly in the future, folks, you may see Craig Russell and I pop up on our own YouTube show and or some special podcasts. So what you can do is to stay in touch, subscribe to one of the podcast platforms that carries this show. Just type in my name, Todd, Levitt. Craig, we are on every single podcasting platform from Spotify to iTunes to iHeartRadio.
Yeah, you can find
and
us everywhere.
We've got a couple hundred shows up. This show will be up there. But if we end up doing anything, and we may do nothing. I mean, this may be it. But if we end up doing anything, we'll definitely have some announcement on the podcast platform that we would record and then put it up there.
I'll give you we have to take a break, but I'll give you a couple of examples.
What are you talking about? Come on, Craig.
I know. What are they going to do?
Come on.
What are they going to do? Kick you off the air? Come on.
Yeah, what are they going to do, right?
We have to take a break, but when we come back, I've got a couple of examples to give you of that very thing you're talking about. But we'll be back on the Todd L. Levitt Law Show.
It starts with
one thing. I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind. I designed this rhyme to explain in due time. All I know, time is a valuable thing. Watch it fly by as the pendulum swings. Watch it count down to the end of the day. The clock takes life away. It's so unreal. Didn't look out below. Watch the time go right out the window. Trying to hold on to didn't even know I wasted it all just to watch you go. I kept everything inside, and even though I tried, it all fell apart. What it meant to be will eventually be a memory of a time I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. One thing, I don't know why, it doesn't even matter how hard you try.
Welcome back to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. My good friend Craig Russell, the muscle, the hustle. Craig, it's a bittersweet show. How do you feel, Craig?
Well, you know what? This is the Bette Midler version show. If you remember when Johnny Carson ended his run on the Tonight Show, the last episode with an actual audience before he did a big clip show and he'd said goodbye was the one where Bette Midler sang to him, and that was really the last show, the last Johnny Carson. So this is our Bette Midler version of the show.
Right, because next week is what, Craig?
Next week is the last show, the last Todd L. Levitt Law Show, original Todd L. Levitt Law Show on 98.5 UPS. There might be, again, that was one of the examples I was going to use. Carson said when he quit, he goes, if there's something else I find I want to do and you'll welcome me into your homes, I'll do it. And Johnny Carson never did another thing after that. I think he made a couple of appearances on Letterman. I think he was on The Simpsons, like in a cameo, but he never did anything else. And he died, like 10 years later. Then there's Letterman. When Letterman quit,
right,
Letterman's doing all kinds of stuff. He's interviewing, Bruce Springsteen and Bono.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. I don't, other than Praxton Law and shredding the gnar and spending as much time as possible outdoors on planet Earth, I don't plan on doing anything.
Well, yeah,
I thought about, what I thought about doing? I thought about putting on a law expo whereby, there's so many lawyers out there that I have access to who are the top at what they do. I thought about bringing them all together in one place, sort of like when we did the 420 Canna Hemp Expo.
Yeah.
So I thought about bringing all these lawyers together at one point and putting on an expo at the casino here in Mount Pleasant, Michigan.
Maybe you will still do that.
So, yeah, and if I do that, we will do that, meaning Craig will be present. And, so that's something I'm thinking about doing sometime in 2023, possibly. But if people want to email me, they can email me at centralmichiganlawyer@gmail.com. That's my email, centralmichiganlawyer@gmail.com. I don't have an email list to put people on or anything like that. I'm looking to do less, not more work, Craig.
I know. I totally
look, I've been lawyering for almost 30 years, and prior to that, I was a law clerk, and prior to that, I've been working since I was 10 years old. But one of the things I'm going to miss most, because this is our second from the last show, is, again, not just the sponsors, but all the listeners who listen to the show. And look, I'm not a radio guy by trade. I'm a lawyer. I just happen to have had a radio show for 20-plus years, an hour each week, and have a great co-host with others, just like you, Craig.
Well, you know what? And it's interesting you bring that up because I am a radio guy. And today, if you're listening to the show on UPS, it's March 5th. This is my 33rd anniversary of being on the radio. 33 years ago, 1990, on March 5th, I started on professional radio and have been, for the most part, gainfully employed with little blips here or there. But for the most part, I've spent 32 of the 33 of these anniversaries having a job in radio. And so I only had one where I...
Happy anniversary, Craig.
Thank you very much. So it is kind of bittersweet, but yep, my radio thing's still going on, still doing the radio thing. So...
yeah, Craig's on the radio. And happy birthday to my sister Lori.
Oh,
wow.
Really? Okay.
Big
Lori.
Birthday today. I won't announce what it is, but happy birthday to Lori.
Happy birthday, Lori. Didn't know.
There's your birthday. One of your birthday presents. Last week we got her crumble cookies? Is that what they're called?
Ooh, those are good.
Yeah. Talk about cholesterol and triglycerides, but who cares? Take a Lipitor and call the doctor in the morning. Come on. Only somebody my age would know what that medicine is, right?
Take a Lipitor. I know what Lipitor is. I've had to take it before.
So Craig, we are a law show, but again, there's not a whole lot of law to talk about today. We're playing Lincoln Park in the end. I love Lincoln Park, Chester. That bums me out every day. Lincoln Park is just one of my... Aside from Metallica, Lincoln Park was and is still one of my all-time favorite groups, along with the Doors. There's so many of them out there. I've been listening to Hardy. You know who Hardy is?
Hardy? No, I don't know who Hardy is.
Hardy is he's sort of a country rock guy. I think Hardy is going to be one of the biggest performers, just like Chris Stapleton, for decades to come. Huh. His name is Hardy.
Okay.
And he's got a song named Jack. He does crossover almost between country and 90s rock. It's unbelievable, Hardy.
Okay.
Yeah, he was just in Grand Rapids, actually.
Oh, let's check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Craig, in regards to the show, we've had some great sponsors. We're going to thank all of them next week.
Yep.
But so many great sponsors. Chad Malley. So many, and we'll talk about them next week and thank them personally.
Yeah, what's going to happen? I'm never going to talk to you anymore. We better, at least once a week get together and talk for like an hour or so.
Well, the listeners don't you? Should we tell we should we tell the listeners what you and I do that it's centuries old, what we do to communicate?
Centuries old.
We use pigeons. You and I communicate via pigeon,
yes,
Craig.
We do. Yes, we do. We have a long string, and I have a tin can at my end. You have a tin can at your end.
Yeah.
And that's how we get that smoke signals. We send smoke signals to each other.
So I have no more driving complaints, no more grocery store complaints. I'm
complained about them all.
Although, wait a minute.
Oh?
I think I do have a grocery store complaint.
Okay.
But I do want to say that, to all those grocery stores out there that cannot reinvest in good shopping carts, what is that? I mean, really, come on. You make enough money, get some good shopping carts. It's like that. It's like when you go to a hotel, Craig, or a motel, and you have to, get that luggage rack carrier. You cannot push or pull that thing straight. It turns.
No.
It turns in every direction except the one you want it to go in, and then you can't even get it into the elevator. Why can't they come up with smart technology that it goes where it needs to go? I will never understand it. I'm not even trying to be funny. Do you agree with me on that one?
Well, you know what it is. It's because people who own those hotels and stuff, they're not going to get rid of a perfectly good cart just because it doesn't turn the right way.
It's the tech. Wait, do you agree with what I'm saying?
Oh, I totally agree with what you're saying. They should get new carts, but
it's like shopping carts. It's like the hotel carts. Why do those wheels just turn and turn and turn like someone's at a spin class, and it never goes in the direction you want it to go? And then it's almost like backing up a trailer. You want it to go one way, and it goes another way. That's another thing. Is there anything more difficult than backing up a trailer? I just want to state that.
No.
Because, and to all the individuals out there whom criticize those of us, and actually Jen's great. She never says boo because she's backed it up herself. But to everyone else out there, all the men and women who sit there in the driver's seat trying to back that up, and then somebody's yelling at them, give that person yelling at you an opportunity to try to back that thing up. That's all I'm saying, Craig.
So you thought you ran out of complaints, but really you've got plenty of them. Maybe
no complaints.
Maybe the show should.
Maybe we should. Yeah, maybe we should just do a show every week of complaints.
The Todd
Consumer complaints
show. There you go.
Yeah.
Take people's complaints and you can throw your complaints in there. No, probably not.
Second from the last show, folks. The show has ran its course, and there's been so many great listeners out there, not only on podcasts but all over the state of Michigan, both local. I hear from people who are heading north from downstate. They tune into the show because they're always listening to 98.5. Or they just, like I said earlier, they're just always listening to 98.5. And, hey, listen, more people have listened to this show on the way to church than any other show, including the Amish. We are one of the most listened to Amish shows on radio.
Considering the Amish don't have electricity, it'd be kind of hard for them to hear anything else. So I get it.
Wait, who you fooling? You don't think Amish have electricity?
They're not supposed to. Maybe if
listen. I love the Amish. I'm not going to out any of the Amish, okay?
If you're Amish and you're hearing this, call us up. Let us know. No.
Yep.
We got to take a break on the time.
But Craig, I've enjoyed doing the show so much. Whoa! I just interrupted you there.
Really? That's
really. I just wanted to say, Craig, I just can't thank you enough.
Well, I can't thank you enough either. We've
learned a lot from you, buddy. We've
had a lot of fun over the last 7 years doing the show. And,
we have. But the good thing is I can just call you every day.
I know, that's the best part. Now we can,
often while here, I'll call your voicemail because your voicemail sounds just like you on the radio. So is it possible, Craig, you can give out your cell number right now so every listener out there, Kevin, everybody, all the guys, Sparky, Little John, if they want to speak to Craig, they can just listen to your voicemail?
Hey! Okay. It's 989-867-5309.
Nice. 867-5309. Jenny, who can I turn to?
Okay.
Well, here's another great song by Morris Day and the Time. 777-9311. Yeah. I'm just a jiggle. That was one of my favorite tunage growing up. Gigolos Get Lonely Too.
That's a Metro Detroit song right there, man.
Remember Gigolos Get Lonely Too?
I don't remember that at all.
Seriously, by Morris Day and the Time?
No, we never got played on the west side of the stage.
Gigolos getting lonely too.
That's an electrifying mojo song right there from Power 96 back in the day.
That's right, Power 96.
Yeah. So, hey, we got to take another break on the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. We will be right back.
It starts with
one thing. I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind. I designed this rhyme to explain in due time. All I know, time is a valuable thing. Watch it fly by as the pendulum swings. Watch it count down to the end of the day. The clock takes life away. It's so unreal. Didn't look out below. Watch the time go right out the window. Trying to hold on to didn't even know I wasted it all just to watch you go. I kept everything inside, and even though I tried, it all fell apart. What it meant to be will eventually be a memory of a time when I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. One thing, I don't know why, it doesn't even matter how hard you try.
Welcome back to the Todd L. Levitt next to last show. Turning it and burning it with Morris Day and the Time and Gigolos Get Lonely Too. A song that we've never heard before.
Okay, back in the day in the 80s, working at Merry-Go-Round Oakland Mall, Prince was just huge. And Morris Day and the Time were also, I believe, from Minneapolis, Minnesota, where Prince was from.
Yep.
And, I saw Prince in concert quite a bit.
I guess you've heard of my reputation.
Come on, Craig, sing along.
Never heard the song.
I've had my share of fooling around.
Yeah.
I know Morris Day and the Time, but
everybody needs stimulation.
Come on, everybody knows this song.
No, not everybody.
Mine just happens to be overtime. It's money occupation.
Easy money occupation, Craig.
I don't understand, man.
First class psychiatry.
First class, baby. Come on now. Love. Taking off the clothes. We say that once. He just did. Truly knows. Yeah. It's time to grab your lady and
go to church.
No, you know what?
You're on your way to church here in Morris Day and the Time.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Hey, we never did put on our toga party, did we?
No, we did not.
We never put the toga party on, and we never did Canna Jam, which never did that. I mean, look, we tried. We did our best, right, Craig? And this is the second from the last show. It's bittersweet. So many great listeners out there. I know there's, I run into people. They call, they sometimes once in the blue moon, someone will hire me and said, "I heard you on your show," or I'll run into them at the grocery store. Once in a while, believe it or not, says, "I recognize that voice." But hey, I'm still practicing law. You'll still hear my commercials on Black Diamond Group stations.
Sure.
We're not going anywhere. This show has ran its course. That's all. Yep. And maybe someday down the road, maybe not. I can't say for sure. You and I may do another show together. But, I mean, in order to, if we ever do, which I'm not saying I have any plans to do that, not even a thought right now, we would announce it on the podcast version of the show. So you have to type in my name, Todd Levitt. And there may be a YouTube show also coming on YouTube, like Steve Lato.
Yep. We'll keep you informed on what's going to happen.
We'll keep you informed, so just make sure you subscribe. And this is not a solicitation. We don't make money off podcasting, folks.
No.
Literally, we don't. So this is, if you like this show or you enjoyed it, just keep listening to 98.5 always. Don't ever turn the dial. But subscribe to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show or Marijuana Law Show on every single podcasting platform. You can download Spotify, iHeart. There's so many great podcasts. We're on probably 25 podcasting platforms right now.
You really can't go. You can't swing a dead cat around without being able to find this show somewhere, one way or the other. But so you got to remember, I grew up in the west side of the state.
Okay.
Michigan. This is where, you remember the song from George Michael, I Want Your Sex?
Oh, yeah.
They never played that version on the west side of the state. It's
a great song.
They played an edited version called I Want Your Love.
What?
That's the way the song goes. I want your sex. I want your love. They just edited out the I want your sex part.
What are you about to, does this mean we're going to hear it now?
No, not at all. I don't have a version of it. But I'm just saying that's what the West Michigan people were used to, is everything is like, I want your sex edited out. So you think we really ever heard even gigolos get lonely too? Come on.
Yeah.
That wasn't getting played at all on the west side of the state. That's why it's not familiar to me. That's why you, being from the city, from Detroit, 1983, class at Berkeley, you're the one who knows that song.
Berkeley High. Actually, we have our, God, it's crazy, 40th reunion this year. Well, that's nuts. Yeah. What's that all about?
Wow, you're old.
40. You're like 120. What are you talking about?
I'm really old.
You are old. But Craig, again, it's been so much fun doing the show. Much thanks goes out to Mike and Norm at Black Diamond Group Radio. All our sponsors, of course, and we'll talk about them next week. Our last show, special guest coming on last week. What's that? What are you playing, Craig?
I'm not playing anything, but you're playing all your sex.
What's going on with the show? Jen loves this song. We're talking about gigolos and I know we yeah. What do you hide, Craig? This show's gone off the rails. But you know what? It's time to bring slow dancing back. If you ask the last 2-3 generations, hey, at your high school prom, do you guys slow dance? They'll say, what the heck is that?
Slow dance, I want your sex.
Yeah. I want your love.
That's what they did. They just added out the I want your sex part. Just replaced it with I want your love through the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty weak.
Well, I mean, truth be told, we love all types of music, and you've been in radio. This is what, your 33rd anniversary?
Yep, exactly. 33, yep.
33 years. Wow.
1990.
1990. I was in law school in 1990.
I know the very first song I ever played on the radio. It was.
Which was what?
Want to take a guess?
Yeah, Video Killed the Radio Star.
No. 1990. Escapade by Janet Jackson.
What? Wait, yeah. Listen, I am truly a rocker, Black Sabbath. I can go on and on. I like some Pantera. I love music. To get to play Limp Bizkit, but what song was that by Celine Dion?
No, not Celine Dion. Janet Jackson.
What?
Remember Janet Jackson? Michael Jackson?
Yeah, of course. What was the first song?
Escapade.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I worked at a top 40 station in Battle Creek in 1990, and that was the first song I
Craig,
played. There it is.
You are just... You're playing all kinds of music. We've lost every listener. If this wasn't the second from the last show, it is now because we're kicked off. That's all there is to it. Come on, we're having a dance party here. Dance party Sunday morning at 8 a.m. with my good friend Craig Russell, the Muscle, the Hustle. Grab that lady, folks, and do some dancing, some slow dancing. That's your first song, hey, Craig?
First song, yep.
Nice. I was working at Clubland, which was at the State Theater So I got to law school in 1989, Detroit College of Law, downtown Detroit, right off of Woodward. It's now where Comerica Park is.
Oh, right.
And at the time, the State Theater, which is next to the Fox Theater, a company out of Chicago, Clubland, rented this 4-story theater out, and I was one of the floor managers. And that's when the song came out. So you started in 1990. Wait, what year did you start?
1990, yeah.
So this song came out, and there was like 3,000 people all dancing at the same time. It was insane. This massive club. Anyhow.
Escapade, there it is.
Yeah, boy, we're reminiscing. Second from the last show, folks, if you're just tuning in.
Looking back.
Yeah, we're not kicked off, not fired. It's just I'm 58, and my sister had a birthday today. Happy birthday, Lori. March 5th. And big shout out to Lori and Izzy out there. What up, Izzy? But great guy. But, it's just...
It's run its course.
I've been on radio since 1998. I don't know if most people know that. I was in Metro Detroit, as I mentioned, first segment. When that talk radio came to Metro Detroit, we had a show on Sunday mornings.
Yeah.
And then when I moved up here, 98.5 was gracious enough to continue that show. And prior to that, Community Access Cable. We've done so much. Craig, you and I honestly have had a blast.
Oh,
I can't thank you enough because you are now one of my best friends.
And I can't thank you enough either.
And I do tell everybody that, though, that everyone I meet, they're my best friend.
I know you do.
But you truly are one of my best friends.
And you're one of mine as well. And I've learned so much about the law and everything from you.
And I've learned from you how to win at rock, paper, scissors by throwing a pencil. If someone throws a paper, I throw a pencil. You taught me how to play hide and seek in the dark, that when the person goes and hides, just take off and, let them hide for the next 10 hours. You taught me how to play Red Rover. Send somebody. What was Red Rover? I mean, if there was one game that kids should not be playing, I don't think kids, when they're trying to grow up their muscles and grow strong at 8, 9, and 10 or any age, should be playing Red Rover, and just have somebody just barreling at them, like they're running a football. I'm just saying, Craig, it's not a safe game. I'm not saying outlaw it, and I also want to say, again, to all of the gym teachers across this country, why did you have to send us tiny kids up to those ropes, because it was the presidential fitness thing that, was spreading across America in the 70s.
You know who you can blame for that?
Who?
Gerald Ford from Michigan.
Well, I liked Gerald Ford. And then Ronald Reagan. I loved Ronald Reagan. He became president. I liked Gerald Ford.
Gerald Ford was the one who came up with that whole president's...
it doesn't mean that your phys ed teacher... do you recall climbing that rope? I mean, our junior high and high school, we literally had to climb that rope, and there were no mats at that time.
Remember Wayne's World? I climbed the rope and felt funny afterwards.
Okay, full disclosure, as a young guy, under 13 or 12, come on, Craig. Since, did you not notice anything when climbing that rope? I don't know about the women, but come on, Craig.
Anything.
What's that?
I hope the women didn't notice anything. That'd be.
But
really
when you climbed that rope, didn't. But what were some of the other crazy things we had to do as kids?
Dodgeball. Dodgeball.
Okay.
You're sitting 3 feet away from somebody, and they take that red ball and throw it at your head.
Okay, that was dangerous, but I was one of the top dodgeball players because I'm
not surprised.
I was a big kid, and I became a linebacker and defensive end in junior high and high school, Craig.
Why are we playing this again?
I'm not in control of anything over here. Oh, man. Oh, God.
Going off the rails.
Second from the last show, we're just letting it all hang out. You would think that I'd want to complain about certain parts of the judicial system and the legal system on my second from the last show. Well, I'm not going to do that because I still have to practice law,
You want to complain about that song, though? My God.
You're the one playing George Michael. I was playing Gigolos Get Lonely Too by Morris Day and the Time.
Jesus.
But Craig, if you could play one rock and roll song on our second from the last show, what would it be? I played Linkin Park in the end because in the end it doesn't matter. Love that song.
Yeah, great song. Well, I think we already played George Michael, I Want Your Sex. That's what I would have played. No.
Does that go out to anybody in particular, Craig? I mean...
Because that's all the ladies out there.
All the ladies slow dancing with your man.
We got to take one more break on the Todd L.
Come on, Craig. What's going on here with the show today? What's happening next week?
It's all falling apart. The last show is next week, so
yeah.
We'll wrap this show up in just a minute.
It starts with
one thing. I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind. I designed this rhyme to explain in due time. All I know, time is a valuable thing. Watch it fly by as the pendulum swings. Watch it count down to the end of the day. The clock takes life away. It's so unreal. Didn't look out below. Watch the time go right out the window. Trying to hold on to didn't even know I wasted it all just to watch you go. I kept everything inside, and even though I tried, it all fell apart. What it meant to be will eventually be a memory of a time I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. One thing, I don't know why, it doesn't even matter how hard you try.
Welcome back to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. Bringing it back strong with Lincoln Park in the end. This is it, Craig, folks. Next week is the last show of shows right here.
That's right.
On the airwaves and podcast. But it's been a lot of fun, Craig. A lot of fun, and thank you again. Next week's a huge show. We have a lot of things, special guests coming on. So we're not going to get to it really this week, but it's bittersweet. It's bittersweet, but I've enjoyed it immensely. I mean, I'm an attorney by trade. I'm not a radio guy, but the listeners, Norm, Mike, the sponsors, the audience, you, everybody has been so gracious to allow us to have a voice, their voice. I mean, we've tried to be their voice is what we've tried to do.
Yeah,
truly.
Right. Speak for the people.
Maybe the listeners will get a petition together, and it'll be like 50,000 signatures, and they'll turn it into the studio and bring Craig and Todd back. I mean, does that even happen anymore?
No.
Right. I mean, nobody's kicking us off the airwaves. This is we're doing this voluntarily.
No, everything again. Hey, look, you know what? Happy Days was a huge hit back in the 70s and 80s, but that show came to an end. TV shows all come to an end. Presidents all have a beginning and then an end. Nothing lasts forever.
Right.
Very, very few things in this world. Cement lasts forever, maybe, but not everything does. And this show is one of those things.
Yep, you're right.
Just things run their course, and with the internet and with the podcasts that are up, we would just say there's over 200 shows up online. There's got to be more than that.
Oh yeah.
There's got to be. Yeah. We do 50-some shows a year. We've been doing this for 7 years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but you and I have been doing 7 years.
Yeah, there's got to be.
Oh, yeah, before that it was Michael J. Great guy. I love Michael J. And Steve's done a number of shows with me.
Yeah, so I mean.
Even Tammy did a show or two.
The show lives on the internet.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to hankering for the show.
What do you got playing there, Craig?
I have no idea. What is this?
I'm playing it. I got to play some. I love Hank Williams Jr. He's my go-to guy, so.
That's another thing I learned about you is that you're a country guy.
Well, I've been listening to Hardy lately. Everybody out there's going, who's Hardy? Listen to Hardy. What's that?
That's what I said. Who's Hardy?
Back in the day, I used to go to Fort Worth, believe it or not, Texas, to Billy Bob's. How's that for a shocker? I had some friends in Texas. They lived between Dallas and Fort Worth. And Arlington, the ballpark, was right there in between. So I would fly out to Dallas, hang out the Grapevine on my bike. This is back in the 90s. And I went to Billy Bob's. Wow. Billy Bob's is a great bar right there at the old stockyards.
Never would have guessed that, Mr. City Slicker with your hair. And don't give me that downstate lawyer BS.
Come on, Craig. Don't give me that downstate BS. Listen, you know what's interesting? And this is not a complaint, but about prosecutors. You know, and not just prosecutors, but people in power that have a huge say in people's lives. If they're having a bad day, then it reflects. Often people don't know how to control their emotions who have power. And we talked about this, I think, a month ago. It reflects negatively on the people who are seeking justice before those individuals, whether it's a prosecutor, a judge, an administrative hearing officer, or somebody conducting a hearing where somebody has a lot on the line. And all too often, and this is, I'm going out. This is the second from last show. I'll meet men and women, and they're having a bad day, and they're in a position of power, and you're at their mercy. And, people like Mike Nichols, myself, Trey Ayers, I can go on and on. My buddy Mike Juarez up in West Branch does such a great job. Big shout out to Mike Juarez up there. But there's so many great lawyers who will stand up and fight the good fight out there. So, Marco, big shout out to all those lawyers that do that, Wendy Nichols. But, that's something that I would really like to expand on, but I'm not going to. But I'm just going to call it out like it is right here before the show ends, Craig, that, prosecutors out there, remember, these are people, and they have families, and they have lives, and people do make poor choices. And the system should bend. It does give. But too often I see prosecutors, when someone's a first-time offender, and prosecutors are not willing to mitigate. And I'm not being specific. I'm not saying it has to do anywhere in mid-Michigan or anywhere else. I'm just saying in almost 30 years of practice in law. And what will happen is you'll have a prosecutor's office. There'll be multiple prosecutors there. And one prosecutor will be like this and not the rest. You see, so on any given day, if you get the wrong prosecutor or the wrong judge or the wrong individual, the outcome would be different. It's like that with even Secretary of State hearings with driver's license. You get the wrong hearing officer, you might get the wrong outcome. And 9 others will rule in your favor. You get the wrong prosecutor, and they may not offer your lawyer or you, if you're improper, the same kind of negotiated outcome that their, colleague in the office next to them will offer. And so that's what's wrong with the system, Craig. There's really no equal balance. If you go to a courthouse anywhere in this country, again, depending upon what courtroom, what judge, what prosecutor, what magistrate, what referee, the outcome may be different, and that's so wrong. There should be equal justice regardless of which courtroom or prosecutor or hearing officer, depending on what type of law you're involved in, you draw. It's like Court of Appeals in the state of Michigan. You get 3 judges who sit on a panel. I don't do court of appeal cases, but you often hear appellate lawyers saying, "Oh man, I got a bad draw of judges. I drew the worst 3 judges." You see, it shouldn't be like that. But anyhow, it's second from the last show, Craig. I know we have to go. Next week is the last show. So there's one of my final complaints about the system that I wanted to air out on behalf of the people out there, Craig.
I was going to say, what are you going to, when you get these things stuck in your bonnet, what are you going to do? Are you going to go out and start yelling out in the town square there to people?
No, not at all. You know what I do? I advocate hard on behalf of my clients, and I push and fight back and protect their constitutional rights. Look, if you're out there and you have a lawyer, make that lawyer work for you. They work for you. And make sure he or she is doing their job. Hold them to it. That's all. All I'm saying is, and I said, we had a show on this 3-4 weeks ago, if you're an attorney out there, just do your job. And then do it even better. Anyhow, Craig, that's all I got to say for the show before the end of the show. We played some great music today. You had no idea there was a song called Gigolos Getting Lonely Too. Yeah.
I did not know that, but I do.
But Craig,
now.
What's happening here on the show, Craig? What's happening next week?
Next week's it, the Swan Song, last show.
That's it.
For the Todd L. Levitt Law Show next week.
Yeah.
So we will see you next week. Todd, the show's over. We got to go.
Craig, I'm not just a litigator, and you're America's favorite nug, the gassiest human I know, and a gigolo to boot. the sexiest man alive, People Magazine 2023, Craig Russell, The Muscle, The Hustle, featuring on the cover. Don't call him Mando, although I love The Mandalorian. It just came out. Craig, next week, last show. See you then.
I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all, but in the end, it doesn't even matter.
The Todd L. Levitt Law Show, brought to you by Chad Mallywell Drilling of Rosebush, Clark Modular Homes of Mount Pleasant, Ace of Diamonds of Mount Pleasant, Clear Vision Windows, Siding, and Roofing, now booking in Central and Northern Michigan, Rusty Gold Antiques in Everett, and attorney Todd L. Levitt.
Opinions expressed on this radio program do not necessarily reflect the views of this radio station.